Hi, I'm Alexander Maxim from YouTube. Today, we'll start our tutorial about PHP programming language. We will talk about the arrays. We'll cover three types of arrays and the difference between them. But firstly, let's start with an introduction to arrays. What's the arrays and when we can use them? The arrays are types of structured data that group information together. The information can be in many types: integer, real, float, boolean, and strings, etc. Arrays can store one or more values at a time, and the values can be different. Integer with string, for example. When declaring an array, it's useless to specify its size and the type of data it will contain, like in Java, for example. PHP does it automatically. The arrays are dynamic. At each new entry saved in the table or in the array, PHP expands its size by one element. There is three types of arrays. We have the indexed arrays, associative arrays, and multi-dimensional array. Let's take an example to understand more what's the arrays. If we have in a university some students and you want to show these students in a table, you will declare these students in your page. Student 1 is Alex, for example. Student 2 is John. Imagine if you have 100 students. You will create 100 variables to declare your students. It's not logical, and for that we can use an array that contains 100 students in one variable. How to do that? For example, I will create an array of integers like that. Array int. It will contain from 1 to 5. This is an array contains 5 elements from 1 to 5. This is the index number 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. This is the array. The array contains 5 elements. For that, we use the array. If we have more than one value in the same subject, this is the array. So in the arrays we have three types. Let's start with the indexed arrays. The indexed arrays is simply a list of elements, each identified by a unique number or a unique number index. Let's say the first element of the array will be indexed by 0. The second will be indexed by 1. The third by 2, and so on. The indexes are automatically set by PHP in the indexed array in this type. Let's see an example, or let's take an example to understand more what I mean by the indexed array. I have some friends, so I will do an array of friends. And firstly, I have my friend Alexander, for example. Then Alex, Arden, and John. I have 4 friends. This is my array. In the name friends, this is the variable or the array. I will print, or I want to show my friends, my elements. I will use the printr method. This printr will print all the elements in the array. I will pass my array as parameter to this method, but firstly let's echo a pre-type to organize our array and to be more clearly. And I will reload and see my page. If I reload my page, I have the array in the indexed 0, as I mentioned for the indexed array. For the index 0, I have Alexander. For 1, I have Alex. 2 I have Arden, and 3 I have John. This is the first element, the element number 1, but the index is 0. Alex, the index is 1. This indexes is automatically by the PHP language. This is the indexed array. I want to show my elements in a list, for example, or just I want to show them as a paragraph or as something like that. I will use an HTML. So I will firstly add an echo, a hidden with indexed array, and I will copy and paste that here. After the PHP tutorial, I will reload and see my page. This is the indexed array. So I will add a logical example to understand more how we can use the arrays, especially the indexed arrays. So firstly, we must get the number of elements contains this array. To get the number, we will add a variable. This variable is a count, and this method will pass as parameter my array. This method will count the elements inside this array. Now we know the number of elements inside our array, but if you have an array in a database and you want to get all the informations in this array and you don't know the number of elements in this array, so you must use the count method and pass by parameter the array. Now we can just test and see the number what will give for us. Reload, and we have 4 items in this array. We will use the for loop, and I will define an I variable. This I will be less than our number, and I will add 1 to this I. Inside the I will echo friends square brackets I, and I will concatenate it with a BR element. I will reload and see the result. Then we will explain what I did. So we have Alexander, Alex, Arden, John. I can also add an echo before, echo each 5 and each 5 elements hidden, and I have friends or my friends like that, and this is the result of my friends Alexander, Alex, Arden, and John. What I did, I will add a comment inside or outside the for loop. This I define the I by 0. It will be from 0 to the count friends. The count friends or our number value is equals to 4. So it will be from 0 to 4. Inside I will print friends square bracket and the number of index. So this is the index number 0. The second one is the index number 1, and here 2 and 3. The 1, 2, and the third or is the fourth element, but the index is 3 because it starts with the index 0. So it will, if we print echo here, echo friends 1, it will give us this element, this value, friends in the index 1. Let's firstly, before to reload my page, this is the indexes 0, 1, 2, 3. So my array square brackets and the first index, and I reload my page Alexander or Alex because it's the the value of the index 1. If I want to print John, for example, I will modify it to 3 and I will concatenate it with a BR element to see the results. And we have John here before Alexander, Alex, Arden, and John. We have John. This is what I did for inside the for loop. I will the I from 0 to 4. So in every time it will be France 0, France 1, France 2, and France 3, and like that it will print all the elements of our array. This is the associative array. We can do, or we can add another thing for that. If I want to replace John by Mike, I will add France and the square brackets, the index number 3, and I will modify it by Mike, like that. I will see the results. Firstly, it's John in the index number 3, and now it will be Mike here, because here we have a print R before modifying the elements. So let's reload and see my page. This is Mike. If I want to add another element, I will just keep it empty and add this element to our array. And this is Mike after John. The index is 4. This is the difference between update and add an element in the indexed array. And we have many methods that we will explain in the next tutorials, how to add an element in the beginning of the array or in the end of the array, etc. And now, after the indexed arrays, we have the associative arrays. Let's start. What's the associative arrays? These arrays work on the same principle, except that instead of numbering the boxes, we will label them by giving each a different name. Let's do an example to understand the difference between the indexed arrays and the associative arrays. Let's add this title, associative arrays. And for associative arrays, I will add an array of languages, like that. And it's an array. Inside this array, I have the languages EN for the English language, and I have also FR for the French language, and ES for the Spanish language, and finally PT for the Portuguese, for the Portuguese language. And now we have our array. The difference between the indexed array and associative array is the key. The key here in the indexed array is an integer from 0 to 4. It's automatically by PHP. But here in the associative array, you that make this key. It's not an integer. You can write an integer or a string value. That this is only, or it's this array accept only the string and the integer values here in the key, and we have the value here. So the key in the indexed array is 0, 1, 2, 3. Here is EN, FR, ES, PT for these values here. Let's print this array. We'll copy and paste it here to print this languages array and see the results. After that, I have the EN for English, FR for French, ES for Spanish, and PT for Portuguese. And here we have 0, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's automatically, we haven't added these indexes. It's automatically by PHP. And now we have added these keys to define these values, because the en sign or symbol, it's for the English language. This is the key or the associative arrays. Let's take an example for this. I will use the for each loop, and we have three parameters. The first is the variable. We will copy our array. The key is, for example, lang key, and the value is lang value, like that. And now we want to echo. The for each is automatically without an index, it's by the object, and I will add lang k. I will concatenate it by is the key of, and will concatenate also the lang value. And before I will add language, like that, and br. This is the result. I will reload and see my page. En is the key of English language. Fr is the key of French language. How I did it? The lang k is this k, and the lang value is English. So by lang k, en is, I will concatenate it with is the key of, is a string statement, and dot is for the concatenation with the lang value, this value French Spanish, and dot language, and after that br element, and this is the result. This is simply the associative array and the indexed array. Now how to add an element by the language? I will add another languages, and if you look here for France, it's empty, and the PHP will add an index after this index. It will add 1 to this index, so it will be 4. It's mic. Here you must enter the key. So I will add nl. It's equals to, not like the array like that, it's equals because it's outside the array, for Dutch. I will reload and see. This is firstly we have English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese, and when I reload, nl for Dutch, and this is the nl is the key of Dutch language. If you want to print just an element in the array, for example the Spanish, I will copy this key and use the languages inside the square brackets. In the indexed array we used the keys from 0 or 1 or 2, the key, and here we use the key also, but the key is es, and I will see, but I will concatenate it with a br, like that. Great. Let's reload and see the page is Spanish, like that. And if you enter pt, I will reload and see my page, it's Portuguese. I will now want to modify an element in my array. I will modify the fr by French C, for example. I don't know, just to see the result. And here we have French C by the fr key. So if you want to do anything for this array or the indexed array, this array is by the key that you have defined here, and for the indexed array is by the keys, the automatic keys here that PHP does, 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And now we have another type of arrays, which is the multi-dimensional arrays. So what's the multi-dimensional array? Is an array contains one or more arrays. The keys of this array can be automatically from 0 at the last time, or by giving each a different name as associative array. it's difficult to understand. So let's take an example to understand it. I will remove all of this code and add an echo with h2 is multi-dimensional arrays, and then I will add an array of materials, for example. Inside this variable I have an array. Inside this array, it's an associative array. Inside this array, or let's see, is associative array because I have phones, this k and this k. The value of this k is an array. In the associative arrays, we have the same thing like that, but in the materials in array, the phones, it will be Samsung like that. This is the key and this is the value. And the multi-dimensional array, the value of the key is an array. This is the difference between the multi-dimensional and the normal arrays. So inside the array, or like that, I will add also Samsung. It's the key of another array. Inside the Samsung, I have Samsung S, for example, and Samsung Note, and Samsung I don't know, G, for example. It's just an example to understand more. This is also an associative array, but here is an indexed array. And we have also another element, which is iPhone. We have iPhone SE. We have also iPhone S6, or I don't know, and iPhone X, like that, iPhone 8 here. This is a materials array, is associative array because it contains a phones, which is the key, and this is the value of the phones. Inside this array, I have another key, and the value it's an array, and here a key and the value is array. Let's print it. I will firstly add the echo pre and print r my materials array, and here echo, we have the close tag of the pre element. And let's see, inside my array I have phones. Inside the phones I have an array. Inside the array I have Samsung and iPhone for the phones. I have also laptop, for example. You can add this, sorry. And here I have an array with the index 0, 1, 2. It's an indexed array. Let's now print it. And to print an associative array, we need for each loop. Let's take materials, and here materials key and materials value, and let's echo the materials key and see the results. Let's reload and see my page. We have just phones because we have just one item. I will add this key for the materials key and materials key value. I will echo another time the materials key, and I will concatenate it with a BR and see the result. Wrong for each in line 13. Materials was materials key, and oh sorry, materials value, it's not the key. And I will reload and see my page. I have Samsung and iPhone. Why? Because firstly, we have in the array, I will print the key, but I will get this array, not the key, and I have copied the key. Then I will add, I have printed the key, and I will get the value to print these elements. So let's add another for each element, and I will delete the value because we need just the index and the key, and we will get this value, and I will add a key, and I will echo the elements in a span, and I will add a style margin from the left 20 pixels. Then I will concatenate it with the materials or value key and a BR after that with span close type, and we will reload and see the results. Syntaxed. So in which line? In 34. Yeah, the echo. I will reload and see my page. I have Samsung, Samsung Note, iPhone, etc. For Samsung and Note, let's see. Here I have this element, and here the keys in a span, and let's add this sign like that to be, yeah, we have Samsung Note, iPhone SE and iPhone X. So let's organize our for each. So materials key, materials value. I will get the materials value, and here materials key and materials value like that, just to understand our for each. And I will here get the value, and for the materials key and key, and I will just copy and paste it here. So cannot convert it because what? I have materials value here and materials key, and yeah, here like that we have our array. So this is what I have for the arrays. We have explained introduction to arrays, indexed arrays, associative arrays, and multi-dimensional array. I hope that you understand all what I did. Thank you for your watching.